Okay. Hopefully I can get through this without coughing. I did some more work last night, and of course I want to show you what I did. One of the things I had on my calendar, my day planner to work on, was figuring out the construction sequence for this Dolly bed. And you can see they've got these are illustrations from Russian folk tales or poetry that I just thought were incredibly cute. I know the bunny is kind of sad, but it's really, really cute. The illustration style is very cute. And this part has fallen out because I haven't glued it in yet. But you can see I've got the bottom part glued in, and I've covered up these little side pieces, and there's still some white showing through. You can see when I move this around, there's some white showing. I'm like my grandmother after squirrels when it comes to this stuff. My grandmother didn't like the squirrels because they dug up her flower beds. She waged an ongoing battle with the squirrels. But you can see I've glued in the bottom piece. I'm letting this set, and then I attached some painted paper, and then this will be glued into the bottom because I don't like seeing all this stuff. If I didn't want to do that, I could just color that in. Yep, here comes a cough. But I wanted you to see this construction. Now, I need to make some changes because you can see here that you can see that this is a piece that I cut out and glued on. That's not essentially how I wanted that to be. But the pieces that I designed that were flat with the wood texture were not fitting correctly, and it was really ticking me off, and I needed to figure out what was going wrong with the piece in general before I could attend to other things. So basically what I did, the big thing I did in changing around this pattern, was I added in these little flaps that come down, and you've seen those in the original flat image. They fold in, and it tells me exactly how high the bed is supposed to go. I like that because then you could just kind of go chunk and stick it in there, and you know it's going to be relatively even. I did the same thing with these insert pieces on the head and the footboard. So when you put this in, you don't really have to, all you have to do is make sure that it's meeting, if I can get it to focus, meeting this little edge. You can see that little purple edge on the bottom. So I figured out what I was doing wrong. This is, again, it's kind of like the rocking chair, where you have, instead of constructing a whole bunch of stuff that goes on the inside first and then putting the outside on, you basically I have to construct the outside first, because there is, you can see here, there's a fold that has a tab on it that goes in between this part here that I glued on the inside and the outside portion. So that tab is hidden and you don't see it, which, you know me, I want to hide everything that I can. So I finally figured this out. I'm very happy that I did. And I can make whatever adjustments I need to the final piece, and then it's ready for release, I guess. I still need to come in here and do some more color on the outside, because these edges, it just drives me nuts. I chose a yellow for this one underneath. And as always, I haven't put in the little bamboo feet yet, that will help these not get so raggedy. Now, I mentioned the rocking chair, and the last video that I posted, I mentioned that I wanted to do another one and see about adding some more width to these rockers, give them a little bit more stability. So I did one more, and you can see here I kind of goofed this up. I glued this on a little too high. This needs to come down. It's not a big deal. I did, and what I've discovered is, yeah, it adds more stability, but I'm not sure it's necessarily worth it. I think I could offer it as a possibility, but I think this is enough. There's more stability there, with an extra couple of weights in there, or widths in there. And I didn't glue in the bottom because I wanted you to see what the inside looked like. When I told you that I put some gray board in this, in the bottom, to offset the, I don't know, a fraction of a gram this must weigh, the back piece, and then I added in another piece. Now with this one, I think it's because it's not incredibly squared on the front like this one is. This one is, you can see the problems. You can see this one is crooked. And I do love this pattern a lot. That I didn't quite need as much here. And I also realized that when I was putting these, this one is slightly bigger. So that could be part of it, that it's just smaller. It's just a tiny bit smaller. And again, no one's really going to notice that. I do need to go back in and make sure that I've hit all those little white spots and that stuff that just annoys me. But yeah, it can. I wanted to prove to myself that it could be done. So this is 4 widths of paper, of the heavyweight paper, and it is pretty solid. I mean, it's a little bit more solid than the other one, but it's like, is it worth it? I don't know. I think that it might be less worth it because then these cuts aren't as precise, and these are more precise. Who knows? But I did that, so I figured that out. And then, of course, there's a piece that's going to go in on the bottom that will, and I need to take care of that because I don't like that. So that's that. Again, this bed is giving me fits, so I decided to concentrate on the underside of this one, and I added in, this one has 2 pieces of foam, and it gives it a surprising amount of stability. And then made the mattress that's going to go on this. And I picked out the red because I wanted it to go with the strawberries, but then I'd already made the pillow and I realized the pillow needs to be like significantly smaller. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try doing one of those like cylindrical bolsters. You usually see them, it's kind of a thing on couches. I think of it as being an Art Deco kind of thing on couches. I'm going to see if I can wing one of those because I think that would look really pretty. And then there's part of me that just wants to draw on this because it's just painted paper, and I just wrapped the foam core in it, and you can see this is newsprint that I painted white and then added the color over. So there's really no newsprint poking through. It's a lot different from this where you can see the little shadows. And I'd done this for some specific thing that I was making. And I really do prefer the shadows poking through. It gives it more visual interest in my mind. And again, it's one of those things that because I'm using grocery store ads, it says something about me historically, all the work that I did as a young, well, late 20-something, early 30-something, as a graphic designer for a grocery merchandise or grocery company. So, anywho, that's where I am right now. I'm kind of coming to the end of figuring these things out, and I'm gonna have to go back into the computer to do some finagling and figuring out some things and changing some things around, and then I need to look for, I'm hoping that some of my patrons could be some of my beta testers to see if these are working well, and if it's not something you're interested in, don't feel bad about it. I'll just figure out where to get beta testers. I'm sure I can round up a couple of people, I hope, to be my beta testers. So, thank you, patrons, for sticking with me. And I will continuing on. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.